Fear is one of the most powerful political weapons ever invented. It can build armies, crush revolutions, and turn good people against their neighbors. But fear doesn't work on its own. It needs a target. And in America, that target has too often been defined by race. From the very beginning, fear and racism have walked hand in hand, used to justify oppression and protect power. When the first enslaved Africans arrived in the colonies, fear was a tool that kept slavery alive. Slaveholders feared rebellion, so they outlawed education and communication among the enslaved. They feared freedom, so they invented myths that said black people were inferior. Those lies became law, and those laws became culture. After emancipation, fear shifted shape but never disappeared. White Southerners were told that freedom for black Americans meant danger for them. Politicians and newspapers fueled that fear, painting black men as threats to white women and white jobs. The Ku Klux Klan used that lie to justify terror, and law and order became the slogan for violence. That same pattern repeated through the 20th century. Every time black Americans gained ground during Reconstruction, the civil rights movements, or the election of the first black president, fear surged. Not just fear of change, but fear of equality itself. Because equality challenges old hierarchies, and those hierarchies are what kept certain people in power. Misinformation turned that fear into policy. In the 1960s, politicians like George Wallace and Richard Nixon used the language of crime and law and order as racial code. In the 1980s, Ronald Reagan talked about welfare queens to paint black women as lazy and undeserving. Those were not coincidences. They were strategies. They told white working-class Americans that their struggles weren't caused by economic systems of corporate greed, but by their black and brown neighbors. It was a lie designed to divide, and it worked. Today, misinformation spreads faster than ever thanks to technology. Studies from MIT have shown that false news travels about 6 times faster on social media than the truth. That's because lies are emotional. They shock us, anger us, and confirm what we already believe. That's how misinformation works. It doesn't ask you to think, it asks you to react. And once fear and misinformation take root, they create a cycle of division that's hard to break. Fear makes people crave control. Control makes them support leaders who promise safety at any cost. And those leaders then feed more fear to stay in power. And the people become trapped in a story that isn't real but feels real. Racism has always been the easiest story to sell because it's familiar. It tells people who to blame instead of who's to blame. It convinces some that they're victims of equality, not beneficiaries of privilege. It says you're losing your country, when the truth is the country is finally trying to include everyone. That's why fear-based politics keeps coming back. It's easier to unite people against something than for something. It's easier to scare people with lies than to inspire them with truth. The antidote isn't denial, it's awareness. We can't fight what we don't see. When we recognize how fear and misinformation are used, they lose their power. When we understand how racism is engineered, not born, but built, we can begin to dismantle it. The good news is that division isn't destiny. Every generation has broken through fear before. The civil rights movement did it, the abolitionists did it, everyday Americans do it when they choose truth over hysteria, compassion over resentment, and solidarity over suspicion. Fear and misinformation are loud, but truth has endurance. Racism may shape systems, but courage reshapes nations. The question is not whether America will face fear. It always has. The question is whether we'll keep letting fear tell us who we are.